My favorite element of video games is immersion. When a game is immersive enough, it can feel like you're connected to it. I think this sort of connection is pretty unparalleled throughout all forms of art. Walking around in Minecraft can bring you into a world far better than a painting can. On my top games list, I have a lot of immersive games. Near the top of that list is Pikmin, Nintendo's peculiar plant-based platoon game. Pikmin isn't the most immersive game I've played, but it presents itself in a far more natural way than most video games do. The first thing that Pikmin does right is how it introduces you to the world. A lot of games like to drop you in and let you absorb everything immediately. This sounds like the right way to do it, but it can honestly be kind of overwhelming. It just leads the player to trying to rapidly figure everything out, and more often than not, they end up focusing on the wrong things. To contrast, Pikmin has a very deliberate pace. You start in the impact site, which has 3 main sections. After learning how to use Pikmin properly in the first section, you learn how to pick up ship parts in the second. Gradually, you'll learn the core concepts of the game. The first day doesn't even let you access the third area. This is another thing that Pikmin does right. It shows you everything, but lets you access it only one piece at a time. When you start off in the Forest of Hope, you're blocked by a giant brick wall. You can break through this brick wall later, but you can immediately tell that something is behind it. In this way, you get the curiosity and immersion of what's behind the wall, while still having a laser focus on what you can access. This plays out into the broader way that Pikmin sets up these sorts of walls. You need a certain amount of parts to unlock the next area, but despite these restrictions, Pikmin still feels very open. You always know that more areas will be available to you, but they're never a concern until you do unlock them. The next thing Pikmin gets right is the stages. A lot of games think you have to have a huge world in order to be immersive. I don't think this is very true. This is what a lot of people call the 1,000 bowls of oatmeal problem. Basically, if you have 1,000 different stages, and they're all bland and boring, then what's the point? This is a fundamental discussion of quality versus quantity, and when it comes to immersion, quality is always first. There's more immersion in one stage of Donkey Kong Country than 1,000 stages of No Man's Sky. Pikmin has 5 stages, and they are wonderful. Each and every stage has a very deep feeling to it, and because of this, you can connect with them. To illustrate this, let's look at the 3 middle stages. The Forest of Hope is very comforting. Its entire color palette has a golden tint, making things seem pleasant. Its map is well connected, so even if you manage to get into a bit of trouble, you can make a quick escape. The Forest Navel is a great contrast to the Forest of Hope. It's dark and a little unnerving. Despite a sprawling map, you're limited to small areas because of all the enemies. The Distant Spring is surreal and dreamlike. The music really sets the tone here, and the blue palette makes you slip away. Despite the serene vibes, it's a challenging stage, so it feels eerie and wonderful. Your mind picks up on all the little things and gets you to align with how Olimar is feeling, making you more immersed in the game. So, why does it matter that Pikmin is a really immersive game? Well, really high-class immersive games are starting to vanish. A big trend in the industry recently has been world building, which isn't inherently a bad thing. But when you prioritize putting the characters in the game over putting the player in the game, you're doing something wrong. The game should always serve the player first, not itself. Pikmin shows us the simple ways to connect with the player. Good pacing, distinct stages, and letting the player figure things out.